What's up, everybody? This is Mario Maitland, also known as Rio. Make sure you go like and subscribe to our channel below so you don't miss out on any of this great content going forward.
The innocence of people from all over the world has been stripped away from the threat of gun violence. Because of its cycle, it hasn't stopped, and it only has become a part of our reality. We must come together and create that balance so that we can eliminate the threat of gun violence. The issue of the gun violence is everyone's issue, and this problem is everyone's problem. Let's make a change today.
This is a place where I don't feel alone.
Oh man, get me out.
Get out of here, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of What's Next podcast. We are joined by Damion Riley as a bonus episode of season 1. So that was my big announcement. This is the big announcement. We got Damion Riley here to talk about his organization here in the Lexington, Kentucky community called Project Body Bag, as you guys can see. Damion Riley, man, it is an absolute honor to have you on this show. I've heard a lot about you, and we've talked for a long time now, and I've always wanted to have you on this show. You know, it's all about time, and I think this is the perfect opportunity. Damion Riley, man, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. Peace and blessings. I want to say thank you for having me, man. It's an amazing thing that you're doing as a young man, getting the word out as far as the entrepreneurs, athletes, and stuff like that. And just say thank you for having me on for the bonus episode.
Of course,
season 1. So
yeah,
I'm grateful for that.
And this season 1, on a big note, this is a big episode. Like, it has a lot more meaning than you might think. Damion Riley, he's been in the Lexington community doing big things for years now, and now he's actually sitting across from me, and he's going to be able to tell his story on my platform, which is you know, another blessing in my life, and I really appreciate that. So let's get into the thick of things, man. Project Body Bag. Tell my audience what Project Body Bag is all about.
Man, simple, man. I always say it's simple, but it's more of wanting to get these kids to do right, get the mentality to stay out of the streets, to keep them from going to prison, get them to think twice from pulling a gun, think twice of what they do in their everyday living. You know what I'm saying? Because you know we all make mistakes, we all fall and bump our heads as kids, and we all come short. But I think right now in today's society, it's so easy to get angry at somebody, and then one split second you can make a decision that could change your life forever.
Yeah, I think it's funny you say that, because that's not talked about a lot. You know, in the actual moment, a lot of people don't, when they're angry or whatever emotion that they're going through, they don't think about that split second. Like, hey man, should I actually pull out a gun on somebody, or should I, try to shoot somebody or commit any type of gun violence? They don't think about it in the split second, and that you're reminding young kids, who a lot of kids, you know, they get in the wrong situation and it ends out terrible. You know what I'm saying? You're providing your story, and I'm so excited to see you actually, you know, go to schools and talk to these kids, because you know I'm sure these kids hear about it and they know it's bad. They know it's bad. That's the funny part. But hearing it from somebody that they don't know, and someone who's been in similar situations as them, it's a blessing to have you on right in front of them, telling them like not to do it. So I respect you for that.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, like Damion Riley, the person. Like,
so the person is probably a quiet individual. I grew up here in Lexington, out in the East End area, when it was like Thomas Street, Breckenridge, Yemen, and a lot of people who can watch this know those streets. Went to elementary here. We moved around a lot, so we was one of them kids that they used to call it the school kid, a homeless school kid. When you move around, your parents move you around a lot. Went to Morton Middle School, Cassidy Elementary, Clays Mill Elementary. Went to Morton Middle School, Southern.
I know Morton.
Went to Leestown. Like I said, we moved a lot. But in high school, I went to Lexington Catholic, so I was fortunate enough to play football at Catholic.
Cool.
Went to school, graduated. From there, I went to Western, tore my ACL playing ball. But from there, you know, when you're in sports, you know, a physical injury, it gets mental. You know, and sometimes athletes can recover from it depending on your type of circle that you have. And then, you know, after that, I just came back to Lexington, worked, had my first son at the age of 20. He's 21 now, just turned 21 in August. But other than that, man, I started just working and then got into the wrong mix. You know what I'm saying? I knew it wasn't the life for me, but as kids, as individuals, you always want to try something. You always want to do something.
Right.
So I started from there. I started selling drugs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it just took a turn, you know. And you look at it because it's fast money. You know, from working a 9 to 5, you can make $1,000 quick. You know, versus going to work at 8 hours. Yeah. You can make a whole paycheck that you make in 2 weeks in 3 hours, 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
So, you know, did that, of course, where I'm sitting now, of course, didn't have a successful career because there's not no successful career in it. There's not no successful career in dope selling.
Exactly.
Or being in the streets. It's not, you know what I'm saying? So, back in 2007, got busted. You know, it was August 18th. I remember it. I always say I remember it like a movie because when they kicked in the door, it felt like a movie. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy, you know, because it was 10 days before my son's birthday. So, you know, getting locked up, having to see him come and see me behind the glass, that for me and being in, it just, for me, it changed my mindset.
Right. I bet it did, man. So what's the overall mission for Project Body Bag? Like, what are you aiming to do?
Okay, like I said, it started in 2014. I was in Evansville, and I was sitting in church, and my mission was to see how many kids that we can motivate and turn from the streets. And that's the overall mission. You're not going to be able to save all these kids. That's the one thing. If you can save 1 or 2, and those 1 and 2 can sow a seed into the next and to the next, then it will help.
Right. You're not going to save everybody.
Yeah. No. Because to be honest, and my fiance, she tells me all the time, and she's straight up all the time. It's like some of these kids are too far gone. We try not to want to believe it. We try to want to still grab them, but the reality of it is some of these kids survive going to prison than being out on the street because they're alive and not dead at 18. So the mission and the goal was to just get in their minds, get in their heads that we don't want jail or being in a body bag the last result that somebody remembers them by. You know, we look at kids all the time, you know what I'm saying, when they pass away on these t-shirts, chains, and that's a lasting memory that we shouldn't want to look at, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's the gun violence is the most it's the number one reason why kids are dying. You know, it's gun violence.
And for me, you shouldn't have to suffer by the hands of another person. Any kind of violence, domestic violence, gun violence, any violence, you know.
Shouldn't happen.
You know, we all want to go either by natural causes or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, but, so.
So, what you do, walk us through what you do on the daily. You go to schools, whether it's elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and you talk to these kids. Walk us through that whole process.
So, as soon as I get to, like, say we have 10 students, we go to school, and I think my last school was Frederick Douglass.
Okay.
Here in Lexington.
Right. Frederick
which
Douglass High School.
you have some kids in there that, you know, dad's in prison, mom's working. So the streets is they feel like the streets is the last alternative. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then you have your average kid who wanna be follow the leader type kid, and then you got the other kid is just looking. He's just kind of just like, okay, which way do I go? He's seesawing, like so. And I get in there and I give him my story, but I also give him the real behind what goes on in prison. Because when you go to prison, there is no guarantee you come home either.
Yes,
You know,
it's a different world.
you know, it's gladiator school from the time you step off that bus and get behind that fence. You know, it's a gladiator school. So I give them the real tangibles of what can happen in prison, what they can see, what they can hear, what, you know what I'm saying, what goes on.
Right. Prison is a different world, although I never experienced it. From what I've heard, it's different. And kids, they don't understand that.
No,
Like, they don't
they
care because they don't think that it's going to happen to them. We got a whole body bag here. So
Yeah.
do these kids, they actually go in it, correct?
Yeah, so my first presentation that I had in Evansville, I had it for like 50 kids. So what I did was, and my son was actually there because he came and moved there with me. So what I actually do as I begin to talk to them, I'll put the kids in the body bag.
All right.
And, you know, while they're in there, I'll tell them, before they go in there, I tell them, go in the back of your mind and tell me what you think when you come out. But here's the thing, you know, I want y'all to tell me what y'all think, but in reality, once you go in here, there ain't no coming out. But I wanted them to, like, visualize.
Like what it is.
Yeah, what it is.
Except if it really happens, you're not actually coming out.
So
Like,
when I put them in there, I'll leave them in there and I zip it up, and I may have 2 or 3 other kids carry them off. You know,
how long does it take you to actually get into the body bag? Because I would love to experience it.
it takes a few seconds, just like it takes a few seconds when you're out there doing wrong, and you're either you committed a murder or you got somebody that may be tracking you down. You know, once the investigators do what they got to do, it takes you 2 seconds and it's it.
Right. And your whole life changes.
And your whole life changes. So, you know, one time I was speaking, it's crazy you said that. One time I was speaking and I literally was really into speaking, had flipped over a table, was really into these kids, telling them, you know, what could happen. And I accidentally left the kid in the bag for like 5 minutes. I swear. Everybody was reaching like, okay, is he hot in there? But I'm glad this thing has a little bitty hose.
Yeah.
They're small, but yeah, I had got into it, man, and I you know, because I want them to understand this is it. You know, there is no life of coming back from out of this bag. And then, you know, the thing about it, if you die in prison, you go to a prison graveyard with just your number. If your parents and nobody come and claims your body, you're in that prison graveyard.
No name.
No name, just a number.
Sheesh. That's sick, man. It's just the treatment overall, man.
It's gladiator school. You know, we've seen, me in the couple years that I was in, you know, seen murders, shanks, rapes. I mean, it all happens. You know, and it depends on how you make it when you go in. You know, you may get in some altercations, but they've got programs where you can get your GED. They've got so many programs that you can get. Now, prison is so advanced, you know, cell phones, and you can get degrees in there. It's all how you make it. You know what I'm saying? You can come out of this and you can change.
Damian, what's the most impactful experience that you've had while talking to these students?
A one-on-one session with a mom and a son. That's probably been the most impactful because I actually put his mom in a bag.
Oh, really?
And it broke him down, and he cried, and it woke him up. Like, he started to get real palpitate, he started to get real sweaty.
Just
seeing that. And because not only was he like a D student, he was disrespecting his mom, pulled out a knife on his mom, did everything that you think some kids could possibly do. So we took him out of the room and we put her in there. And you know how most of these kids now, they're attached to their mom.
Right.
So he comes back, he's like, did my mom go to the store or something? I said, no, your mom stopped breathing, so we had to call 911 to put her in this bag. He's trying to get through us, he's trying to break away, he's trying to do this.
Right.
He just started crying, he's breathing real hard. But I told him, I said, this is the reality of why you should honor your parents and stop being disrespectful, because you only get one mom.
Yeah.
And she was a single parent, you only get one mom. But then again, I said, this could be you. She could be looking at you. You know, and then most of the parents, they don't have life insurance on the kids. That's another big thing that we're dealing with, you know, life insurance.
Right.
And it's just crazy. It's like, you know, the GoFundMe accounts, and me personally, I think everybody should have life insurance on their kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever situation.
You never know what's going to
But
happen.
if you know you have a kid that's out in the streets that are doing stuff, and then you try to get help, the mentors are helping him, but he's just not listening, you need to get life insurance.
Absolutely. You deal a lot with the community in Lexington. Have you ever thought about, you know, expanding that?
Yes, that is my next step
It
after
is.
this year, expanding this, because I've started in Evansville, was big, but Evansville is so small, and they're not really open-minded
Right.
to this or any, you know what I'm saying? They have their mentors just like every other city. But right now, our city is plagued, Lexington is plagued with gun violence, domestic violence. So is the whole nation. So,
Exactly, yeah, it's an issue that's...
So my object is, I do a presentation where I have different parts and different scenes set up, what can happen, and then how you can overcome. So my thing is trying to expand this, take this from city to city, school to school. And you know, it takes time because doors gotta open,
Right.
and stuff like that. And it takes money, you know. So
yeah,
you know
so
what I'm
those
saying?
are kind of some of the obstacles you gotta,
it's
you
like
gotta
the red
overcome.
tape you gotta deal with. But yeah, that's my goal, man, is to take this, and I got one more presentation coming up
Okay.
at Castlewood Community Center.
Okay.
October the 16th from 1 to 4:30.
How you feel about that?
I'm always excited, but I'm always nervous, because you know when you do stuff, you want it to run right,
You want it to be perfect.
and you want it to be perfect, but everything ain't perfect in reality. You may have anything go wrong. Sound, you know, one person step one way and do this, but I'm excited because there's a message, you know, that I'm trying to get out there with not only the young kids but the adults, because you got some adults acting like these kids. You got some adults handing these kids drugs, handing them guns, doing, you know what I'm saying?
Shouldn't be happening at all.
You know, so I'm excited to get this message out there and still.
So, yeah, I'm excited for you, Damian, but I want to know, why do you care so much as an individual? Was it just your past story, or is there something more than that deep down?
Probably my past story, and also I had a son that he was on the brink of going to prison.
Right.
Like he was on the 15, 16, 17, he was on the brink. And I was in Evansville at the time, and then I brought him there and, you know, try to get him into a private school. And the drugs is an epidemic also.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So selling drugs, it kills the community. You know, I wasn't selling what they're selling now, fentanyl, which is automatic death to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy, but just my story, selling drugs, wanted to get back to make sure these kids have a future.
Yeah.
That, you know, because, you know, as growing up in the 80s, I was born in 81. You know, that's when crack cocaine hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
In the 80s and the 90s.
90s was pretty
You
bad.
know, and we just, everybody that was in the game, we didn't show these kids how to be now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I don't know as far as how you are with like the music, but social media plays a big part. The you know, the rap music.
Music definitely has a part in it.
It's got, back in the day, you know, when I was growing up, we had Sega Genesis, and we didn't have the social media. you know, like that. You know, it was MySpace. You couldn't do anything really on MySpace. You
Now
know,
you got Instagram, Twitter. I mean, it's everywhere. And then,
so if I had to say, just you know, my story and.
So Damian, what's your biggest take on the recent gun violence that has been happening in the Lexington community? Because it's been getting out of control, man. Like last week, there was gun violence at a party, UK party on campus. Was it on campus? I don't think it was on campus. It was
A little bit off campus.
A little bit off campus, University of Kentucky's campus. What's your take on this increase in gun violence?
It's crazy how back then we had a thing called micro city government
Okay.
in the mayor's training office, where at 14 I can go work and make about $350 as a 14-year-old and go in the mall and buy stuff. And now it's like there's not so many opportunities for the younger generation to do, which, you know, you have to look in the last 2 years. COVID played a big part. Shutting down everything, taking everything out of business, you know, but you have to try to revamp as a city as a whole. You have to try to revamp different stuff, you know what I'm saying? Open up opportunities, try to get opportunities. Now there's a lot of jobs that's opening up for kids to do, but it's just like now they really don't have anything to do to get their mindset
Right.
like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, you know, can I go do this? So that's where now through a lot of programs and organizations, you know what I'm saying, out there just trying to get these kids motivated
Right.
to get them jobs, to, you know, so
Project Body Bags all over the Lexington community. You're going to schools, you're talking to these schools, you're talking to the students, letting them know about the Project Body Bag, what can happen to them if they don't, you know, go on the right path. How can my audience get involved with Project Body Bag, or anybody in general, or anybody, you know, living in the Lexington area that wants to, you know, help out a little bit and support your organization? How can they get involved?
So right now, with me being back in Lexington for 2 years, it's like I'm a fresh face, but I'm here. I can be contacted through my Project Body Bag Facebook page, my email, which is Project Body Bag,
Right.
or you can look on the content on my YouTube page, Project Body Bag, and you can always leave a message. I think you can leave
We'll
a
put that
message
up. Yeah, I'll
on
have to
YouTube.
put that up.
But if you want to sponsor, we have like I said, upcoming presentation is coming up. If you want to be a sponsor and you want to, you know, sponsor that, will be great to
Absolutely.
get anybody's organization out there. We try to be an outlet. You know, doing a presentation, I get speakers to come in so I can keep sowing the seeds so they can allow to know who's out there and who's doing what these kids, other than me, what I have going on, that they can also, because we want these kids to be consistent. Because the moment these kids stop, they're gonna get in their head and they're gonna be like, okay, don't nobody care for me. He mentored me for a year, now he's gone.
Yeah, it's not real.
And that's they're gonna believe it's not real. But yeah, man, just contact me on Facebook. I have a page, and
For sure, y'all heard him. Damian, where do you see this going, Project Body Bag? Like, what's the ceiling for you with this?
The ceiling for me, I've always, when I started this thing, I didn't think it was gonna take off like I imagined, but I'm trying to, like even with my presentation, I'm trying to get to theater. I told myself I want to be like Tyler Perry.
Why
Like
not?
I want this thing to take off so quick, and that's of course with patience.
Yeah, I've learned that.
And the thing about it, you know what I'm saying, when God tells you yes, he'll tell you yes. But when he tells you no, he'll tell you no. If he tells you to go through that right door and not the left, you go through the right. So with timing and patience, and you got to put in the work too. You can't just expect something to come for you. So you got to put in the grind and work too. You got to, you know, it's one time I reached out, I think, to like 50 churches, and I think all churches told me no. It was too harsh. It was too, you know what I'm saying, for their youth. But, you know, one thing about the churches have to understand, not many young folk are coming into church. They're not. Because they, you know, to sit there 2-3 hours, listen to a pastor speak about something that is a message that could change their life. Yeah. They be like, oh no, we're not coming. Yeah. We're not coming. So now you have to go outside the church. Well, you have to go outside and get them.
Exactly where they are.
You have to meet them where they are, and you have to hear their voice too. Because a lot of kids, I think, some days they're talking and they don't think nobody listen. So you have to listen to what they say. Right. Because some of these kids are actually saying something that they want stuff to be done, and as adults sometimes we don't listen. You know, that's just facts.
I think it's crazy you say that, because that's very true, and I'm learning from what you're saying, Damian. That's perfect. And another thing that I'm taking away from this is that I'm not working hard enough. You're working hard. I need to work a little bit more harder, because you emailing 50 people, like you're dedicated. Like, it's simple. It's that simple. Give me some advice, not only for me but my audience as well, for dealing with gun violence. What should they do? You know, when it comes to gun violence.
I'll tell you what, biggest thing you can do is tap into wherever you are, whatever state you're in, tap into your state representatives, vote. Of course, us as African Americans, we think, I'm a vote, this might not go nowhere, but
it does.
You know, it helps. And not only every 4 years or every 4 years when the presidents come in, you have to vote for your local state too. Because you have to. That is a big plus. You have to vote for your mayor, city council people, judges. You know what I'm saying? Those votes, when you're voting, when those times come up to vote, those votes really matter, because even though you don't see everything on a federal level every day, you're in your state. You're locally. Your local city government matters on who you have to. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, yeah, it makes sense.
So,
a lot of people don't know that though. They just think it's president.
It's deeper than let's vote for the president. Let's vote for everybody in Washington. But you know,
what about your community? What about Lexington? What about Louisville?
But I think it starts with voting, education. Educate yourself on gun laws. You just have to read up on things. I think educating yourself is the most thing about it. A lot of people are looking to move in different areas. I think in the United States, everywhere it's plagued with gun violence. No matter where you go,
man. It's an issue that's just been ongoing. Whether it's mass shootings or inner city shootings, it's just been going on. And I think that we can talk about it. Right. Like, we can sit here and talk about it, but we got to do something about it. We got to come together, whether it's voting or educating the young kids, helping out the younger generation understand, the importance of gun violence and bringing that down. Damian, it's been an absolute pleasure. Before we end out this episode, I'm gonna get in this body bag, man. I gotta at least try that out. Let me see.
I might have to try you out the body bag and this.
Okay.
So
okay.
That's for you, man.
Oh, is this for me?
Yeah, that's for
I
you.
appreciate that.
That's for you. So,
Project Body Bag, I appreciate it. Nice little T-shirt. Rep that in the episode.
We'll take this. It's long ways.
Yes,
now,
sir.
I'll put you in it and then just ask you some of the same couple
of questions. Yeah,
we
can go through the whole process, man.
Lay flat on your back.
Oh, man.
Scoot up a little bit. And it's just like, like in the corners, they come on the crime scene, they do their investigation.
Facts.
And, you take this thing. And just like I had to say to kids, getting when you come out of here, I want your honest opinion on life and how you think it should go, and what you do if you were a teenager,
Right.
wilding out, doing, disrespecting, bullying kids.
Right.
How this could change your life.
I got you.
The innocence of people from all over the world has been stripped away from the threat of gun violence. Because of its cycle, it hasn't stopped, and it only has become a part of our reality. We must come together and create that balance so that we can eliminate the threat of gun violence. The issue of the gun violence is everyone's issue, and this problem is everyone's problem. Let's make a change today.
This is a place where I don't feel alone.
Man, get me out.
Get out of here, man. Whew. It's a little scary in there.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. This is, toe tag, freezer, autopsy. Of course, dealing with the gun violence, it's automatically the autopsy will be. They still have to do it, but it's a short process than usual.
Yeah, man, it's definitely scary, man. You don't feel alive when you're in there. I'll tell you that much.
You don't. You don't. So.
Scary sight, man. I hope my audience is taking this all in. Gun violence is an issue that's been ongoing in our country for years now, and I hope that Damion Riley in this bonus episode, is changing somebody's life. It doesn't have to change everybody's life, but if I could change one person, whether it's a kid, an adult, mom, dad, a teen, if I could change one person's life, and me and Damion, doing this episode can have an impact on you, then that's all I care about. Ali, I want to thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you, man, for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Stay tuned for season number 2, which is coming out in a few weeks. So we'll get that out to you. And like I said, I hope this episode changed your viewpoint on life. All right, that's it.
For more episodes and exclusive content, subscribe to What's Next with Rio.